Yeah.
Hey.
All righty then. We're back. We're back after a week off. You know, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We missed our extended family while we had some time off, but it's back to business for episode 31. We want to welcome you all to That's My Story. If this is your first time joining us, That's My Story is considered the hottest internet sensation to date when it comes to having a live interactive chat with some of your favorite musicians, producers, artists, whatever their expertise in their field may be. We have a live interactive chat, and I like to say we celebrate while we educate. You guys come on in and get yourself situated. Don't forget to drop us a comment and let us know where you guys are tuning in from. We always like to go back and see how far our reach is extending. We want to welcome our extended family nationally and internationally. Without any further ado, I would like to introduce my highly esteemed co-host. We will start with the ladies first. We have a talented singer, dancer, and actress representing the ICATs, as well as founding member of the lovely lady group, the Honeycomb. She is also the spouse of founding member of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Mr. Verdine White. He's also the bass player for Earth, Wind, and Fire. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Miss Shelly Clark White.
Thank you.
Yes, Shelly.
West Coast.
Yes.
Yeah, West Coast.
West Coast. Also joining me as usual, representing the chairman of the board. He is a member of the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame, considered one of the kings of the Carolina beach music. He's also a talented vocalist, musician, producer, and arranger. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Ken Knox.
Hey man, I missed you guys.
It's good to be back. It's good to be missed sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, so let me introduce to you the chairman of the board's musical director, a great keyboardist, arranger, and he speaks a lot. That's why he's sitting up in the top hand corner, in that left corner. So
nice.
Introducing my bandmate and musical director, Mr. Jerry Midas Hardison.
Midas.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we want to remind our viewership that may be tuning in on Facebook. If we play certain material during our broadcast that is copywritten, and sometimes Facebook gets wind of that and they will shut it down or black it out on Facebook. So we want to tell you, if by chance that happens, we want you to go over and join us, continue the program right on YouTube. We're gonna pop the link up there.
There it is.
Shout out to Tazz, our producer.
Tazz.
So make sure you join us right over there, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any problems, all right, and we're gonna keep it moving because we got quite a bit of material to get through this evening. But before we introduce our guests, you know it is a tradition here on That's My Story that we have a toast. You guys got your glasses, and we're gonna have a toast to episode 31.
31.
It's been 31 weeks, guys. Yes, all right. Hear ye, cheers. Yes, indeed. And it's good that when you're doing all this talking to keep your whistle wet.
That's a song.
I gotta wet my whistle.
Yeah.
All right. Indeed. I'm with it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we know you all are waiting, and we're not going to prolong the time any further. So without any further ado, please help me welcome Grammy Award-winning singer, songwriter, and producer, who is one of the most talented soul singers to ever grace the microphone while showcasing a vocal range that is undeniable. His riffs and runs will be forever ingrained in the minds of the listener, whether in a group setting as lead singer for Shalamar or doing solo projects. His voice is considered irresistible and has been a huge part of the soundtracks of our lives. He has given us such hits as Second Time Around, Night to Remember, Dancing in the Sheets, Say Amen, Strange Relationship, Show Me, and many others. I could go on all night, but we have a program to do. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise at home while we make some noise on the screen for Mr. Howard Hewett.
Yeah.
Thank you. Man, I'm gonna hire you to come and introduce me on the road, boy.
While I'm not doing any shows right now, I'm up for negotiations.
That's right.
Unfortunately, I'm not either. So
Yes, we can have you can have your people talk to my people. We can work something out. Yeah. We want to welcome you to the show. We thank you for joining us this evening.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Taking time out of your busy schedule. Yes. So, as you know, we kind of briefed you yesterday. This particular podcast / video cast was birthed due to the pandemic and quarantine as a means for us to, stay connected to our fan bases. During this time, being a musician and an artist, of course, not being able to be out on the road, we like to ask our guests, how have you been keeping busy during this time?
Oh man, there's so much because at first when everything first went down, you figured, okay, yeah, we'll probably be shut down for about a month, maybe. You know what I'm saying? So you just took that time to kind of chill, and then when a month turned into 2 months, and then 2 months turned into 4 months, 8 months.
I tell you.
I was telling somebody today that I was talking to my daughter when we were about 2 months into it, and she said, Dad, didn't you say about 4 or 5 months ago that you were thinking about trying to take a break? I said, yeah, but not like this,
Not this long. Yes, it did.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
But I think at first you really just start doing things that you wanted to do for a long time. Like I said before, I get closer to God. I started at the beginning. Every morning I get up and I wanted to start reading the Bible. I've read the Bible throughout my lifetime, about times throughout my lifetime. And, I said, okay, I'm going to go through it again. It's been about 10 years or 15, whatever. And so, I started from Genesis, and now I'm all the way up almost through Psalms. And, so started that and cutting my hair off because I was about a month in. I was in the mirror, like cutting the hair off the top of my ears because they're growing down. And I looked in the mirror. I said I hadn't had a haircut at that time even for about 3 weeks. And so I looked in the mirror and I said, man, I don't know. My barber is still shut down today, right?
Wow.
So I would have been looking at it because I only go to one person. I find one person and that's who I would go to cut my hair. So I was in there.
I don't blame you.
I just said, like that. And I said, okay, I got to cut. So I started zipping it off, which is something I wish after doing it, I wish I'd have done a long time ago. But doing that, I did that. So just really kind of just chilling and some other things that we'll talk about later on,
Absolutely. Awesome. I think it's great that, we all should be taking advantage of this time where we're a little slower than usual as far as coming and going and learn a new trade, so I think that's a great way to make the most first cases.
Yeah.
So Howard, you were born. We were just discussing about being cold and everything. So you were born in Akron, Ohio.
Akron, Ohio. Yep. Akron, born
right next to Detroit.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Akron, Ohio. Born and raised in Akron. I'm gonna tell you, I was ready to get out of there, like we talked about. I left there when I was about 19, 20 years old, and one of the main reasons was it was the cold, man. It started, every winter I would go into this whole thing, as far as the cold, the snow, ice and everything. But as far as growing up is concerned.
Tell us about your upbringing.
Yeah, it was the most amazing place to grow up back in the day. I started singing I've been singing since I was 10 years old. So my mom was a professional gospel promoter in the Akron, Canton, Cleveland area, and she would bring everybody in from James Cleveland to Albertina Walker and Caravans to Pilgrim Jubilees, Volunteers. You're from Detroit, Ken. Bill
Quartet,
Trios. All these guys. Everybody. So once she put the Hewett singers together when I was 10 years old, And yeah, there you go. Yep, the Hewett.
Yeah, the Hewett singers.
All right, you guys.
Now you're the youngest. You're the youngest, correct, Howard?
Oh yeah, well I was youngest for a while till 3 years. My brother is 3 years younger than me. You know,
Gotcha,
but
okay.
all my sisters, I have 4 sisters: Anita, Carol, Joanna, and Adele, and they're all older than me. You know, so we had the backgrounds. They did backgrounds. I was like 10 years old or so. I did the lead singing and stuff like that. So
Nice.
my mom literally kicked me out on stage first time I went out. My mom and dad. So they
nice.
So nice. So we started that, and we would do, of course, nepotism was alive and well in our family. So when we were in shape enough to perform, we started performing in front of every show that my mom would bring in to the situation. Like I said, so I cut my teeth on acting with acts like James Cleveland and the
classic.
Oh yeah,
all those Soul and all those guys. And so I mean, I did that until I was about 14, 15, and then I went into the R&B situation. First started playing bass. Radine doesn't know this, Shelly. My first instrument was bass.
Really?
Yeah. So I started playing bass at first, and then I played bass for this group called Soul Corporation, I think it was, back in Akron. And I couldn't quite grab the whole situation of, how to play and sing at the same time,
Sure, it's difficult.
Yeah, so I had to make a decision whether I was gonna play bass or whether I was gonna sing. So I put the bass down and I started singing, totally. And did that until I was about 19, 19 years old. Then I went out to Akron. I had a little bout with insanity for a little while when I first got to high school, because I was kind of in love, that kind of stuff.
The usual.
And my group, my group was making like $700 a weekend to split between 7 people. So that wouldn't make any money. So I went to the Air Force. You know what I'm saying? But and I went into the Air Force, and I was supposed to do 4 years, but I think fate had other plans for me. I did 10 months. I did 10 months, 11 days, and 4 hours.
Wow.
But I got out of there. I got out honorable discharge, full benefits, the whole thing. So I didn't screw stuff up like that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I came out and went to LA. Came here to LA.
All right. Well, I wanted to back up just a little bit, because you were also an athlete, correct? You played some football in your early years.
Pee-wee football.
You see how I'm laughing. You see how I'm laughing. All right, you brought this up, Midas, right? Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna leave no stone unturned. Wink, wink. So, and you also went to high school in Ohio as well, correct?
Yeah, I went junior high, grade school, junior high, graduated high school. Went to Kent State for a little while when I got back from there.
Okay.
But the football thing was very short-lived. Very short.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, now was there? And I heard that rumor has it there was a situation as far as with you and your coach, and he kind of made you. He wanted you to pick football or pick this singing thing.
See, what it was, what happened was.
What happened
was. No, see, there was because we would, the group, the Hewett singers, we wouldn't go out on the road basically until like summertime a lot of times, but sometimes some things would come up during school year, and so we had to go. I think it was up to Upper State New York or something, and it was like a 3 or 4 day trip, and I was going to miss school. And then I talked to my coach, and I said, "Well, I'm not going to be able to practice, football practice, until for about 3 or 4 days. And the coach was Coach Gino, man. I remember his name, Coach Gino. Big old, big brother, huge, big old brother, right? He said, "Well, Hewett, you know, you're gonna have to choose between one or the other. You're gonna have to either do play football or do this music thing, right?"
Yeah.
I'm looking up at him, right?
Right.
And I said, "Well," I took off my shoulder pads and I said, "Here you go." Took off my helmet. Here you go. You know, and that was the choice. Now I see him. Well, now I don't know if he's still in Akron, but a couple years after, you know, Shalamar, after I got with Shalamar stuff, and I went back home to hang out, you know, for a couple of days, I would see him, and he would say, "You know, I'm responsible for your career. You know that, right?"
Oh wow!
Oh man, that's great. That's great.
You know, yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, and we also wanted to cover before you went to LA, you were part of a group by the name of Life, correct?
Yeah, that was my group back in Akron. Life was myself and my partner Marvin Burke and Byron Williams. Byron is there you go. Yeah, Byron is actually Walter Williams from the OJs.
Oh, okay.
That's Byron's brother. Byron and Walter are brothers.
Wow. Okay.
I first met Walter when I was about 15 years old or so, and he came to one of our rehearsals. And Byron Williams and Ricky Fletcher and we were about, like I said, when we first formed that group, I was about 15 or so, and Marvin is we're about the same age, Byron and so, and I don't know how we did it, man, but we would play in clubs called this club in Akron called the Tropicana, Silverleaf, and these are clubs where they sell alcohol.
Wow, and you guys are teenagers.
And we used to, there was another group in Akron. Akron, that's what I'm saying. Akron was an amazing place, especially for music and stuff. Because in Akron, you know, it was like, it was a rubber factory of the world, right, at the time. All the good gear,
the tires, the big old tire.
And so like when I was coming up, you know, you either did music, you worked in the rubber factory, or you were some cats tried to do all three, right?
So do it. Yeah, that's great, man.
Yeah.
And I think it's always great when when your parents can recognize, just to tie it all in, when your parents can recognize that you have a talent or a gift and they encourage that and help nurture it. You know, it obviously was well worth it.
So I'm gonna tell you because when I went, because the Hewett Singers, we were really popular, and especially in the Ohio area, up and down the East Coast, Chitlin Circuit, and up through the East Coast of Canada. And so when I went from the Hewett Singers and went into the R&B situation, man, those church biddies, man, they were like, they started talking stuff. They were talking mess. And my mom also had a radio broadcast. She had a Sunday morning radio show called the Reverend Elvin H. Brown Spiritual Hour. The guy that she did it with, who eventually, years later, became my stepfather. But they would do every Sunday morning at a certain time, and so like, man, they all this fervor. They started talking and talking. I can't believe Sean Lena let her son go into the devil's music, right? And so then. And I remember, I got to say this. I know I'm talking a lot, but I got to say,
it's all good. That's what you're here for.
Because I got to give my mom props. She passed in '92, but I got to always give her props for this. But I remember one Sunday morning after about 3 or 4 weeks, when they were talking, and I was listening to her broadcast one Sunday morning, and she went on the air, and she said, "Now, I want to talk about something as far as my son is concerned."
Oh wow.
You know, and he said, I know that there's a whole lot of talk going on about him going into the R&B field. She said, but I know what his dad and I instilled in him. I know we instilled the foundation of God, Christ, the Holy Spirit in him. And she said the biggest sin that my son could commit would be not to use the gift that God gave him, you know.
Wow.
And
Wow. Nice.
she said, went on to say some more stuff, and then she ended up with, and if I like it, you all should.
Yeah. Shout out.
That's awesome, man.
So
That's
I don't want to hear no more. That was the end of that.
That was it.
Yeah.
Props
That's
to you.
But
Props
that
to mom.
that really gave me the you know, like the green
Confidence.
light.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
That took weight off of you too.
A whole lot of weight. And then it also set a foundation for me to make sure that the things that I talked about in my career, in the songs that I would write and eventually write, I would always have in my mind how my mom stood up for me, and the fact and also the fact that for 3 years I was raised up in a whole household full of women. It was just me and my dad. Me and my dad were the only testosterone running around there. You know? So like I had to be really careful about what I talked about and conscientious about what I talked about, and the respect and everything for our women. We know we love you. We love y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
man, so let's talk about the jump to LA.
Oh, okay.
So what made you make the decision at the age of 19 to do this?
It was cold. It was cold.
Oh, yeah.
It was cold.
That's right. I feel you.
Man, I remember my band Life, we had done the show and we came back and it was in the middle of winter, man. It was a snowstorm, and we had finished the gig and took all the stuff, and we had to lug all that stuff down in the basement. We rehearsed at the keyboard player's mom and dad's, you know, where he lived, mom and dad's house. Rehearsed down in the basement. And I mean, when I say lugging stuff down, he played a B3 organ. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Man. With
the Leslie and everything. So
but you had to have that back in the day.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Used to do the
So like I remember we were sitting after we had taken all the equipment down there. The rest of the band had split, and Marvin, the keyboard player, he and I were sitting at the kitchen table at his house. And I said, Marvin, man, I can't spend another winter here, man. I can't do it. So then, you know, he said, yeah, we need to go. So we started talking about different places, and we set a date. You know, the rest of the band and us got together, and we set a date that we would go. We were gonna go to California, right? And like, you know, we looked at showcase places and the whole thing. And then after a while, they started booking gigs, you know, on the date, past the date, everything that we were supposed to be leaving. And I'm like, what's up? I thought we were going. Well, you know, started stuttering and stuff. I just start stuttering. You know, when they start stuttering, it's like some crazy.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So like, I, you know, after a minute, I just said, hey man, I got to go. And my cousin, who I was really tight with, he had gone back. He had lived in LA from the time he was 5 till he was 15. Then he came back to Akron, and then he went back after we graduated. He's about a year older than me. After we graduated high school, he came back out here to LA. And when he left, he said, "Man, I'm gonna go out there for a year, and in a year, I'm gonna call you, right?" And I said, "Okay, cool." You know, I said, "Cool." And in that a year, almost to the date, that year, he called me, and he said, "Man, you got to come out." You know, he said, "I met this girl. She's got a 2-bedroom apartment and live in LA." And he
that's
said,
the story.
And he said, check it out, though. He said, and her roommate will love you, right?
Oh, man.
So like, you know, long story short, we went to a whole nother story, but long story short, I booked my ticket flew to LA, right? When I touched down LAX, I had like $34 in my pocket, right? After I paid my one-way ticket. One-way ticket. One-way ticket.
Okay. Okay.
So like I walk in, we walk into the apartment, and his girl, you know, comes, meets us at the door, and like, you know, she's like, you know, like Shelly type, you know, Shelly like, you know, really like
Yeah.
And then the roommate comes out from the back like this.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Like
I looked at my cousin. I'm like, he couldn't even look me in the eye. He couldn't even look me in the eye.
Man.
And to this day, it was me and my cousin for about 8 or 9 months. And to this day, when I see my cousin, we have to laugh for about 15 minutes before we can have a decent conversation. Just thinking about all the stupid, crazy stuff we did, you know. And this is cable, so I can talk about this. So this is like internet.
Right. Yeah. So with your $34 and meeting the love of your life, you end up getting a job at
put out.
Put out.
Man.
Right. Yeah. So you end up getting a job at a ladies' shoe store on Wilshire, right? At Orbox.
It was
man. You guys
got Orbox was big here.
Orbox was huge.
Okay.
Wilshire and Fairfax.
That's right. It was like Macy's. It was like a Macy's.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was huge, and so I had to make some money. I wasn't making any money. I was like, I remember my cousin and I, a friend of my uncle's, my cousin's dad, my uncle, had asked us. You know, he said, "I'll pay you $50 a piece to come over to my house and do some yard work." Right. So. We were over there, you know, we ain't had no money, right? Yeah. So, you know, we went over there and we were doing the yard work and complaining and talking about we didn't have no money and all that stuff. And he said something that stuck with me, man, like crazy. He says, you know what? Because he was from Akron also. Okay. Right?
All right.
And he said, it's better to be broke out here in the sunshine than broke in all that stuff. And I said, yeah, that's true. So I never complained anymore about that. But then I got this job. I started rehearsing with this band called Beverly Hills down at the Mavericks Flat. I know y'all know about it.
We got you.
Yeah.
The Mavericks Flat. There you go.
Mavericks Flat.
So then I got a job at Orbox. You know, I worked in the women's shoe department at Orbox. Yeah. I'm like 20 years old working in the women's shoe department, y'all. I had a ball. I worked that job for 7 months. And it's like, what do you mean you're not wearing stockings? Your legs are perfect. What do you mean? It was serious. I had so much fun. It was crazy.
You were a salesman.
I sold so many shoes. I sold some shoes for real.
I bet, man.
I bet.
Nice. So rumor has it that at Mavericks you were dancing and you bumped into Ralph Johnson of Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah. Because actually, Ralph Johnson from Earth, Wind and Fire, he was the first person to ever take me into a professional studio. Because with the Hewett Singers, we never went. We went to a studio one time with the Hewett Singers, but it was this guy's, you know, home studio. He had the real stuff and all that. Right. So we're at Mavericks, and you know, Mavericks is like this was in Mavericks' heyday, man. It was like, everybody was Mavericks.
Every Saturday.
Right. Every Saturday, but it was Friday out there, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right?
Wow. Okay.
So like, and you know, Shelly, it's like it's not a big place, right? But it's like a real homey place, and and the dance floor, it's a small dance floor.
Small.
So at that time, the DJ, who was this guy named Joe McKenna, became one of my best friends. He played this song that was out with LTD Jeffrey was singing Love Ballad, you know.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And then lovers go. I mean, it was like, I love that. And everybody rushed to the dance floor, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There was this lady that I was macking. I was
Macking.
I was on this, and I'm in her ear. Lovers come, and I'm like singing, and then I can't remember whether I got the girl or not. Okay, but after the song went off, you know, this cat comes up to me. He says, "How you doing? My name is Ralph Johnson from Earth, Wind, and Fire." Right? I said, "Oh, what's up, man? How you doing?" Right? And he says, "Man, I heard you singing." So evidently he was macking somebody too.
That's what we did.
I know that was our job. That's what we do.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I'm saying? And so, like he said, "Man, I heard you singing." He said, "I love your voice, and I have some demos that, you know, I'd love for you to put, you know, some vocals on. Would you be interested?" Yeah. I didn't even talk about no money. I didn't care. I was like, "Yeah, of course." Lead me to the studio. So
we had to remind. Well, Ralph wasn't with Earth, Wind, and Fire when they played Mavericks Flat because they got booed off the stage there.
Wow.
Really? Wow. Ralph said, "I wasn't in the band then."
just threw them under the bus, right? No, but Ralph actually was with one of the groups that came out of Mavericks Flat. Because see, Mavericks Flat downstairs was the club, but upstairs was about 3 rehearsal studios and a couple of offices, and they had a booking agency also. That was John Daniels.
John Daniels.
John Daniels and his brother Alonzo Daniels. So
there he is.
Yeah.
There you go.
Black Shampoo. He did that movie, Black Shampoo.
Black Shampoo.
All those black exploitation movies. And so you know, he went, but upstairs, like I said, they would have the office, and they had the booking agency. They had a booking agency called Maverick International. So John and then they put together all these groups and stuff. They had this one group called Love Machine.
Love Machine.
Yeah, it was seven beautiful women, and you know, Kathleen Bradley.
That's right.
Bradley, that's where she started. Kathleen was the first model of on
Price is Right. Was it Price is Right?
Oh wow! Okay.
She played Miss Johnson on Friday. You remember the lady across the street?
Yes.
Miss Parker.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Midas remember that. I said, "Oh yeah."
I just want to make sure we got it correct. That's all. Miss Parker, I know what you're talking about.
She was in Love Machine, and you know, really? So they put together a bunch of show groups. John and Ralph was in. I forget. I think it was
like the Teenage something or others, whatever the name.
I think it was Master's Children.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then he was in that group before he got with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right.
So the brothers put together a group named what? Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills. It was myself, this cat named Ralph DeBlanc.
I remember Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph. I'm sorry. That was Ralph, but it was his brother, Robert DeBlanc.
Robert DeBlanc.
Yeah, Robert. I know.
Yeah, Robert sang with my brother. I remember that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
And then this girl, Roberta Patterson, Gwen Briscoe, and Deanna. I forget Deanna's last name, but there were 5 of us, and then we had a 7-piece band that backed us up. You know, so
sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. The club, Maverick Flats put out a lot of great artists.
Yeah.
Got their starts out there, you know. I used to hear about Maverick Flats when I was in Detroit.
Yeah, Maverick was one of the showcases that were on list of places to go if
Okay.
if we would have all gone out there. But even the Mavericks, even playing at Mavericks was such a because whenever we would Beverly Hills, whenever we would put a show together that we wanted to try out on an audience, we would play at Mavericks, play Friday and Saturday at Mavericks.
Wow.
Like, I mean,
so that
you can look out there in the audience at any time and see Shaka Khan sitting out there, or Richard Pryor, or Lionel Richie. And then that's actually where I met Jeffrey and Jody at first.
That is right. That is right.
All the Soul Train people used to come.
Soul Train dancers.
Yeah, Soul Train dancers coming and on the weekends.
Wow.
And
wow. So
Beverly Hills, that was the group that was touring all over the place, right? You went to Scandinavia. Where did you guys go?
Man, we started out in Helsinki, Finland.
Wow.
We did a couple in UK, Geneva, Switzerland, Santa Fe, France. We were all over the place. At first we did 2 tours with them. And the first tour, I was over there for about 9 months, then came home for about a month, and then went back over there for about 4 or 5 months or so.
Wow.
But I was making $250, $300 a week, but I had no wife, no kids, no responsibilities. I was about 22 years old.
Sure.
That's good back then.
I tell my kids now, I said, I remember when I had no responsibility.
Wow.
Yes,
well, one thing for sure, you got your start coming out of that club.
Yeah. Oh man, for real. Because every night, because you were on stage almost every night, and also doing those shows across the water, it was like you had to figure out, you had to learn how to, entertain, an audience a lot of times that didn't speak any English at all.
Right.
And one night we were doing, I'm gonna tell you, we went to Benidorm, Spain. We played Benidorm, Spain at this place called Cap. I remember it was called Cap 3000. I remember the stage. It was this huge wooden stage, and it was great. We played there about 2 weeks or so, and then I went on. Yeah. But about 2 years ago, with Shalamar, we were overseas and we played Benidorm, Spain. That same club.
Wow.
They had changed the name of it. And they had done some, face lifting on it, some inside. But I remember that stage. It was huge, and one of those huge wooden stages. So in my mind, I started thinking about, okay, I started out here. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, I went here, I went there, 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 and ended up right back there.
Right back.
Full circle.
Jeff said something while we were performing, and when he was he would introduce me, and he said, and this man, he played Benidorm, Spain, back when he was 22 years old, played this same stage. He said the only difference is that back then he was singing other people's hits. Tonight, cool.
Wow.
That's the beautiful part.
That's the beautiful part of it, man. Yeah. Everything comes back. You know what I'm saying? Everything comes back.
True.
Okay, well, we want to jump ahead a little bit and talk a little bit about when you got involved with Motown. And in that period, I just want to say this right quick. You were, I guess, were you doing a lot of background, I guess, for other artists there? But you also were with this guy that everybody on this stage knows about right here, Jeffrey Bowen, because he Chairman of the Board. Jeffrey Bowen, Honeycomb. And he, anyway, we want to talk a little bit about that.
The Pointer, he produced Bonnie. I think Bonnie was his woman at the time too.
Bonnie Pointer.
Right.
And man, I started this girl Tammy Gibson. used to sing with Wonderlove, sing background for Stevie, and
Okay.
she was doing a background session for him. He was doing an album on this cat Eddie Hazel, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guitar. Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
Maggot Brain.
That's
Remember
right.
Maggot Brain? Maggot
Okay.
Brain. That was Eddie. So he was doing a project, a solo album on him, and so they had done backgrounds on these songs, and for some reason Jeffrey Bowen didn't like the backgrounds, so he told Tammy, he said, "Look, I want you to go get some more backgrounds, some more singers, and come in, and we're going to redo, you know, these vocals." So Tammy called me. She knew me from Mavericks, right? She'd come down to see when Beverly Hills would perform down there. She'd come down and check the group out. And so like she came and she got in touch with me and asked me to come down. She was the one in charge of the background session for, you know. And so I came in there and we redid all the backgrounds on there. And then afterwards, after the session, Jeffrey came in and said, "Man, I love your vocals, man." He said, "I love your vocals." He said, "This is going to be a self-contained type of situation because Eddie couldn't sing, you know, Eddie couldn't sing. But he said, "I'd love for you, you know, to be a part of the vocal situation on this project for this group." It was going to be the Eddie Hazel experience or something. And so, like he said, we can work on the contracts as far as Motown's concerned. He said, "But I can get you into AFTRA like tomorrow." You know what I'm saying? After being the
you know, union,
right? He said, "I can get you into AFTRA tomorrow, right?" And I said, "Cool," because AFTRA at that time, AFTRA was something like for solo or duet, there was something like $130, $140 an hour or something like that. And then a background three piece and 4-piece, whatever background was something like $70 or $80 an hour. And you had, and if you were not a contracted artist, you know, you had to get paid from the time you walked in the studio till the time you walked out of the studio. So Jeff would book studio time for like 8 o'clock at night, and then he wouldn't show up till about midnight, right?
Milking it.
I don't know what he was doing, but he wouldn't show up till about midnight, and then we work until about, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning. So do the math.
Yeah.
We would work like that. We would work like that about at least 4 times a week. We would work like that. So I was making some nice money and stuff. So But then I was in Jeffrey's office.
Yep.
Right?
Here we go. This is the part we're getting to. I think your then wife took a call from Jeff Daniels and told him where to find you, right?
Yeah. So when I went overseas. When I went overseas the first time with Beverly Hills, that's Shalamar formed.
Right.
And they had this tune called Uptown Festival, and this cat Gary Mumford was the lead singer at the time.
Right. Okay.
And then they did this tune. They were getting ready to do. They had done this tune. I think they had put it out there. No, I don't think it was released yet. But when I came back from the first tour, and I was home for that month, Jeffrey Daniels had approached me about joining Shalamar at the time. But and then they had to take that to the bank out at that time.
Right.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
Right.
Sorry, I'm getting. But he approached me about joining the group. But I had already given my word to Beverly Hills that I would do that other tour. So to me in this business, and you guys know this, your word is only
your word, right?
Everything.
I don't do what you sign or whatever. Your word,
right.
So I said, no, I can't. I appreciate it, but I can't do it. So, so like I went overseas and came back, and then that's when I started working with Jeffrey. And then after about 3 months of working with Jeffrey Bowen, they started, they started giving me what we used to call back in the day, Motown runaround.
Exactly. We know about that one.
Oh yeah.
So the money wasn't reflecting the work that I was doing in the studio, right? It's the checks. And so I called a meeting. I said, man, I told Jeff, and he was working with this guy. Ken, you might know Angelo Bond.
Of course.
Oh yeah. Yes.
He wrote our songs with General.
Right. So with General and Greg Perry.
Right.
Yeah. So Angelo was co-producing this thing with Jeffrey on with Eddie Hazel. So I called a meeting, and so I went to the Motown building, and I was up on the 15th floor. Motown had
15, 16, 17.
And so I was up on 15, right? And going through this meeting, and I'm telling you guys giving me the Motown run around and money, this, like that. And so in the middle of my whole thing, the phone rang, right? Okay. And Angelo answers the phone. He has a different story, but I busted him out. When I saw him in Detroit one time, years and years later. But
this story is great. This story is great.
So Angelo answers the phone, right?
All right.
And he looks at me and he says, "It's for you." And I said, "It's for me." I said, "I don't know. The only person I knew where I was my lady, and she worked in for Don Cornelius.
That was Rainey. That's right.
Pro-trained Dan.
That's right.
Okay.
So I said, if it's my lady, tell her I'll call her back, right? And he says, well, it's not a lady, it's a guy, and it sounds like that was back before cell phones and all that stuff.
Right.
You be on the line if it's long distance, you can hear the crackling and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He said, well, it's not a lady, it's a guy, and it sounds like it's long distance, right?
Right.
So like I said, I got on the phone, and it was Jeffrey Daniel.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
And so they were in New York at the time, in the middle of a promotional tour, and then that's when they were promoting "Take That to the Bank."
Right.
Right.
And so Jeff, I get on the phone and Jeff says, "Man, I know we approached you, one time before, but blah blah blah." He says, "But we got Take That to the Bank out now. We're in the middle of a promotional tour. They had the guy that was lead singer then was this cat named Gerald Brown. And evidently they got into a thing, and Gerald tried a power move. You don't blame nobody. They feel like they can do a power move. A power move.
Sure.
Like he said, well, when y'all see this my way, give me a call. And he jumps on the plane, right? And leaves out in the middle of a promotional tour with no lead singer, right? And so Jeff knew that Rainey, my lady, worked for Don. So he called there, and she tells him that I'm at the Motown building at a meeting.
Right.
And so he still won't tell, Jeff Daniels still won't tell me today how he got into that office, how he knew I was in that office.
Wow.
I know he know how to get to the Motown building, but how he got into the office. And so he said, I know that we approached you, but we want to offer you an equal position in the group as lead singer. And, he said, you're at the Motown building, right? I said, yeah. He said, what? I said, I'm up on the 15th floor. He says, well, Solar was the record company that Shalamar was with at the time.
Okay.
He said, Solar's offices are in that same building.
On the ninth floor.
Ninth floor, right?
Right.
And so he said we talked to Dick Griffey, and Dick, he just wants you to get in touch with him. He'll reiterate blah blah blah. And so I get off the phone, and then I tell Angelo and Jeffrey Bowen what the deal was. I said that was Jeffrey Daniel, from the group Shalamar. They have to now Take That to the Bank, blah 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 blah. Solar Records, and Jeff Angelo Bond says, and this, I tell him, I got ready to say something, but he tried, and Angelo says, man, Shalamar is nothing but a fly-by-night disco group. They will never amount to anything, and Solar will never be a Motown. And Jeffrey Bowen starts talking, and I just kind of sit back, right? And I'm listening to him. And when they got done, I said, well, my car is parked on the street. I need to go put some money in the meter, right? So, I got up and walked out and went straight down to the 9th floor, right? And talked to Dick, and you know, he reiterated what Jeff said, what Jeff Daniels said, the offer and the whole thing. And then he says, well, you know, do you think you're interested? And I said, well, I'm definitely interested. I said, but I got to give these people upstairs a chance to like kind of rectify themselves.
Right.
So even though we hadn't signed contract, again, it was still my word, right?
Absolutely.
Done all this work. And so like I left there, and I you know, called Jeffrey Bowen and them. I said, look, you know, if you guys want to rectify this thing, I'll be home all night long. And that was on a Friday, right? So Saturday morning, nobody had called, right?
Wow.
And so I called Dick, and I go over to Dick's house, and he plays a videotape of a Shalamar show, right? The show and everything, and then he says, comes in and he says, well, you know, Jeffrey and Jody say you're a great singer. You know, sing something. And I'm like, just sing something? You know, nobody says sing something. Right? So to myself, I said, well, Lord, you know, me and you, right? And I broke into Feel the Fire by Peabo Bryson. You know? She told me, stay here. I can
come on with it.
So I broke into that, and I got through the first verse, half the hook, and Dick says, okay, I'll be right back, right? and he goes upstairs and comes back down, and he has gives me like $500 cash, right? Okay, that's cool. $500 cash, right? And then it goes in the other pocket, and he has an airline ticket. And that was back in the day where you could ride on my ticket, I could ride on your ticket. We didn't have to have a name like, you know, like like now. So like he said, here's the airline ticket. You got to catch the red eye out tonight and meet the group in New Jersey tomorrow. He said you got to rehearse the lip sync and the choreography to take that to the bank. He said because Monday you got a TV show to do. And
sure.
And that's
pressure.
That's what it was.
That is sure.
Yeah. So you know, it was that's how it went down. Friday I got the offer. Saturday I did a little lightweight audition. Saturday night I'm on the red eye. Rehearsed. They moved to New Jersey.
We're gonna get there. But Dick Griffey, we go way back. You know, he was my roommate because he was seeing my girlfriend, my best friend back then. Then jump forward, and he's engaged to one of the Honeycomb, and he's traveling with us as our manager, and road manager and manager. But we all know when Dick puts his mind to something, it's a done deal. Wait, but you do a good Dick Griffey impersonation. Let me hear you talk.
Dick was like, we would like, you know what I'm saying? But I learned so much from Dick, you know, and God rest his soul. And but I learned so very much from Dick. And now with Shalamar, that me, Jeffrey, and Carolyn, his daughter, we do that. That's the Shalamar that we do overseas.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
So Howard, you arrive in New Jersey. Now you said you caught the plane. You got on the flight. You had how many days before the taping?
it was like I got there Sunday morning because I took the red eye out Saturday night. Got there Sunday morning. We had to rehearse. We were rehearsing in I forget whose room it was, either Jeffrey or Jody's or something. So we rehearsed all day, and Monday was the research. It wasn't Dinah Shore. It was this local dance show in Paterson, New Jersey.
Okay.
Dance show. Okay.
I forget what the name was.
What kind of pressure were you under to get that choreography down as well as the vocals? I can only imagine.
Yeah, man, it was like, because Jeffrey and Jody are dancers. They were dancing.
Right.
And so I'm like, it was serious pressure. I didn't, it was a brand new gig. So like I'm I'm doing everything I can do.
Yeah.
And like finally at some point I said, I sing.
Yeah, you brought the soul to it.
Which take air to sing. Yeah. So, I'll come back and do this. We had done the show and stuff, but because fortunately the show was like lip syncing anyway,
Okay.
I did the Milli Vanilli.
Yeah. So mainly focusing on the dance steps.
Right.
Yeah. But later on, as we went on, that's when I made them aware of the fact that I ain't no dancer,
I'm a singer.
So,
Right. I get
it. But then, because that the brain can only comprehend just so much
at one time.
Like, those times when I would fall back and do, saying boom, boom, the three of us are in unison.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of the good, good points.
Yeah. It's like, what do they say? Rubbing your belly and patting your head, Yeah.
I'm not doing. Y'all can't see my other hand.
Yeah. But it's almost like that, trying to do two things at one time, So
plus, like I said, vocals singing is about the diaphragm, and it's about the
breath
air
control and everything.
How much air you get, and you can figure. That's why people, when they do those shows, people talk about, I think they're lip syncing. There are times when they are lip syncing.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
It's totally impossible to do
all of that stuff.
Everything, right?
And then go up there and sing those notes.
Yeah. So I take it. The TV show was a success.
Man, that TV show, it was a success. But I remember, the one thing I remember is that the host of the show was standing here. I forget what his name was. Jeffrey and Jody were standing here, and I was standing on the other side of the host. And so he went down the line. He said, "What's your name?" Went to Jeffrey. He said, "Jeffrey Daniel, Jody Watley." And he turns to me, and I'm standing so close. He turns to me with the mic, and I'm like,
"Did he hit you?"
Oh man!
This is before social distancing.
That's right. That's right.
Hit me right in the mouth. That was my first experience with TV.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, that's funny. So you guys finished up your business on the East Coast, came back to LA, and then this is when you hooked up with producer Leon Silvers. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I think Leon was producing them anyway. I think if I'm not mistaken, Leon produced Take That to the Bank.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Those were the first things, but yeah, that's when I first met Leon.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Now, so did you guys start on the Big Fun LP after that promotional tour?
After the promotional tour, we started right into the studio. And Big Fun album, which had Second Time Around, all that stuff.
Yeah. Now you also wrote some of the songs I hear.
I didn't really write that much. The first two or three Shalamar albums. I'm the type of cat where, like, if I'm in unfamiliar territory,
you kind of fall back.
I like to fall back. I like to check stuff out, and I can expound on things that I know about, which was performing and like really, performing and singing and the whole thing. But as far as writing and producing, I hadn't really, gotten into that.
Gotcha.
So like, that we didn't. It wasn't until like I think the Go For It album and the Look album, I think I started.
Okay, and a minute ago you mentioned Second Time Around. Tell us a little bit about that song being created and maybe what you were feeling at the time while that song was being cooked up, as they say.
While we were doing it, you never know what's going to be a hit song.
Right.
Right.
You know what feels good to you. You go in there and you try and do your best work, the best work that you can do. Right. And so we're working on it. I was even more so than the song. Will Shelby, and I forget who else it was. Will Shelby and Leon and somebody else wrote the lyrics and came over, because Leon had a whole stable of writers and producers that were just amazing.
Wow.
Kevin Spencer, Dana Myers, and Will Shelby, and a whole bunch of cats. So and that was the whole thing with me. It was like going to school. What I mean?
See.
Just sitting back and checking it out. So when we did Second Time Around, it was cool. I dug it. I didn't like the syndrome. Right?
Yeah.
Because disco
Yeah.
and people, Jeffrey, would get mad when I would say this sometimes, but disco was not my favorite music.
I got you.
Like I was like into some soul and funk.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like with the syndrome, that really put, so so we did that, but there were other songs on that album that were really that really hit certain chords and stuff that I really dug.
Yeah.
But hey, you never
know. And
you're gonna gravitate to it.
Yeah, and I will say this, as far as you making mention of that sound, I hear it differently, but I could understand you being involved in the process. It might be a little redundant, repetitive, or whatever to you. But
the syndrome thing,
yeah, that little drop, but I think it fits. I think it fits in that record, especially.
Oh yeah, it fits big time.
Yeah,
that's one of the recognizable things about it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But that's cool. True. That just to hear you being a part of that song, and you at first, you willing to say you didn't like it at first. So I think that's cool, But speaking of Second Time Around, it was number one on the soul chart, and it was the most successful hit on the Hot 100 pop chart.
Yeah, man. The second time around sold almost 2 million singles.
Yeah.
Wow.
And speaking of disco, it went to number one on the disco dance chart in January. Might have helped it.
I know, man. I know.
Yeah. We'll check this.
But it's like Don Cornelius told me one time. He said, "Howard, I don't claim to be 100% right all the time." He said, "But I'm like 80% right. I'll take 80% anytime." So I'm 80% right. I was 20% was my wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind,
I'll take that wrong anytime.
Absolutely. Well, if you don't mind, we're gonna play a little video clip of Second Time Around.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
I'll make it so good to you, and like the first.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just got one thing. I just got one thing to say.
What's that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I didn't disco too much. You saw my little Saturday Night Fever impression in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yep.
And also on that album, you guys had "Make That Move."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, "Night to Remember." That was pretty huge.
Yes.
That was on the Friends. I think the Friends album. The Big Fun album had. Oh man, it's so long I can't remember. The second time around, some other stuff. They had one song on there that I could not stand. It was like,
and that happens sometimes, you know.
But a friend of mine told me one time. He said, "Man, be careful what you record because it might become a hit." And like he said, if you record something and you don't like it, and it's a song you don't like, and it becomes a hit, that means you got to play that every night, every show you do. You got to play that song over and over again. So I was like, I said, yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about "Night to Remember."
"Night to Remember."
Yeah, give us a good studio story.
Man, actually, I always tell the story about "Night to Remember" because we were using Larrabee Studios at the time. Over there in West Hollywood, and it was Halloween night when we recorded the backgrounds on. We recorded the backgrounds on "Night to Remember," and I remember somewhere on a 2-inch tape, the multi-track tape. There's a full background harmonies of everything of us saying, "Make this a night to dismember."
Oh,
wow!
Really?
Make this a night to dismember.
and you guys are just kidding around or something, or what?
Huh?
You guys are just kidding around with that?
Yeah, just kidding around. I don't know who came up with it, but but then, that's cool. Let's do it. So then we record the full harmony. What you hear as far as like "Make this a night to remember."
To remember, you did Dismember.
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 Wow.
Yeah, and that's got to be one of. I would assume that would be one of your favorites to perform. Am I correct?
The famous
"Night to Remember." That would be one. Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think that was a rap artist, Mace. He sampled that and had Blackstreet on the background vocals, if I'm not mistaken.
As long as I see it on my royalty sheet,
that's what I was gonna say. Yes,
Yeah.
you did. Yes, you did. All right, and so a couple of fun facts about "Night to Remember." It reached the Billboard Hot 100. It hit number 15 on the club single, and it was a big hit in the UK. So shout out to all of our UK fan base that is tuning in.
Absolutely.
It went to number five on the UK singles chart.
All right.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So we have a video for "Night to Remember." We're keeping it jamming going.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Those outfits were killing me, boy. That was like that.
Was that some leopard?
No, that was leather. That was serious
leather,
leather.
Leather.
It wasn't no pleather. And
it's a real deal.
The cat back there that did the suspenders like that.
Who was that?
That was Jermaine Stewart.
That wow. Okay.
Yeah. Jermaine Stewart started singing with us, and actually it was because of the work that he was doing with us is how he got his solo deal over in England. So
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
with what was you don't have to take your clothes off and stuff, you know. So
Right.
Okay.
yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
Jermaine Stewart, but
Yeah.
those
Wow.
outfits, we were really into. That's when we were really being influenced. We were spending a lot of time over in England. So
Yeah.
we were really being influenced by the whole English, you know,
Yeah.
That's
Fashion
right.
and all that.
here and all
Yes.
that.
Yes.
We had kind of
Yeah.
gotten out of the whole uniform look as far as like everybody wear the same type of stuff.
More individuality
Right.
based kind of.
Right.
Exactly.
English clothing will make you do that. I mean, their fashion was just sweet.
Yeah,
You
remember King's Road?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Damn right.
Yeah,
Yes.
we used to
Yeah.
we go down there. I mean, and Shalamar at the time. I mean, we couldn't. It was made whatever Shalamar was here. The popularity of Shalamar here, it was
Yeah.
10 times more even in England. Because
Wow.
because when you look at England, if you look at the UK, look at England. You know, England's not is an island. England is an island. No, it's not that much bigger than California. So
Right.
so when stuff like hits over there, it like explodes, you know.
Yeah.
It does. And when you come back to the States, everybody's, man, where you get that at?
Yeah. They got some stuff you're not gonna find over here.
You ain't gonna find it. So speaking of this album, you guys had another hit, Dancing in the Sheets, which was nominated for a Grammy. And I think it was featured in Footloose. So what was different from the previous tracks for this song? What was your feeling about that when you did that song?
First of all, the whole dynamic was a different situation because at the time, Jeffrey and Jody had already split from the group.
Okay.
And they were gone. And at that time, I went to Dick and I said, "Well, Dick, you know, Jeffrey and Jody gone. That's like my brother and my sister. I'm not really thinking about." I said, "Maybe I could, you know, go into my solo thing now." And Dick, well, you know, well, you know, Howard, you know, she's got 2.5, 3 years left on this contract, so either you can spend it doing nothing, or you can spend it, you know, trying to go to court, trying to get out of this thing, or we can do another album, you know. So like, of course, I hate court, you know. I don't like, and I wasn't going to sit around doing anything. But in the meantime, right after we talked about that, this cat Dean Pittsford had got in touch with me. I think he got in touch with me or my management or something, and he had written all the stuff for the movie Footloose, right?
Footloose.
So they called me and they called Leon, and Leon and I went to Paramount Studios, you know, to look at a rough cut of Footloose, right? So you know, we looked at the rough cut. They had you know, temporary songs, you know, and the whole thing. And I remember walking. He and I were walking from the studio, walking to our cars in the parking lot. And I said, "What do you think, man?" And Leon says, "Man, I got my plate so full. My plate is so full." He said, "I don't think it's going to be a big hit anyway." And so, like, you know, he said, I'm gonna have to pass on it. And he said, "What do you think?" I said, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a hit either. But I said, movie. I said, but because of the state of everything, I said, I think that it would be good to do this so that it would keep the name out there.
For sure.
And like, even though it was just me, I was the only one left in the group. And, and so, like, you know, I said, because of that, I think, you know, I'm gonna do it. Right. And And then, I mean, it turned out to be a great thing to do. But that's when I brought Mickey Free into the group, and then we did the whole tour to go around and find the girl, you know, to replace Jody in the group. But Dancing in the Sheets was actually the second biggest selling single Shalamar ever had.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
See?
Yeah, you never know. You got to go ahead and do it.
You never know.
Yep,
But the image changed at that point too, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh man, I was having fun. And when Mickey came into the group, that's my boy Mickey. That I love that boy today. Today, that's
okay.
And if Mickey ever, I used to always tell him, if you ever decide not to do music, you could be a stand-up comedian, boy.
Oh yeah,
kept me laughing. But it went into a whole rock type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
A rock type of direction. And I remember, you know, because I always had the dressing room when Jeffrey and I were in the group. Even now today, we have our dressing room together. You know, because it's just you know, it's like it's just. I remember Jeffrey and I. We played a club at the O2 Arena one time. I'm getting off this, but I'll get back to it. But we were playing the club, Indigo Club, off the O2 Arena in England.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So we got there, and they had my dressing room, and then they had a dressing room for Jeffrey, and like, we're like, no, that ain't right. We got to do the dressing room, and so Mickey and I always had dressing room together too, and so like our thing would be. I think our thing, what we would play in the dressing room, Mickey Free and I, you know, like we play Billy Idol, Rebel Yell, you know.
Okay.
It's got more, you know, and then we put on a leather belt, you know, dancing in the sheets and all that stuff, man, and so, but it started taking that rock type of direction, and, you know, and especially with like stuff on the Heartbreak album and stuff like My Girl Loves Me, Hawk Walensky, me and Mickey wrote that, and you know, so it really started taking another type of direction that was a lot of fun for me. I dug it. I was like I said, I was just having fun. I was just riding. I was just riding my contract out. Right.
That's it. Well, you can definitely see the image had changed.
Yeah.
So let's let the audience see this video. Dancing in the Sheets.
Dancing in the Sheets.
Grab your coat and wave goodbye to your friends. I wanna take you where the night never ends. I feel the need to sweep you off of your feet. You and me, we should be dancing in the sheets. Dancing in the sheets. Dancing in the sheets. Dancing in the sheets.
Yeah, man.
Dancing in the Sheets.
Yeah,
rock out,
man.
Rocking out.
We were rocking out, seriously. And in that video, if you went back a little further, because there was a indigent, whatever you call it, like a really misfit type of club situation in there, you know, as far as I was concerned. And there's a guy walking around, you know, this big cat walking around with this bag, with this hood or something around his head. Look, every once you would see him. and it was Tiny Lister, you know, Zeus.
Oh yeah, Tiny Lister.
Oh wow, yeah.
Zeus.
Tiny will tell you, he'll say, man, Howard Hewett was the first cat to ever put me on camera.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then he would say, and I'm still waiting on that check. I still think
Hey, you went to Jeffrey Bowen school.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, but here's the deal. Your next hit was actually a song that you wrote with Dana Myers called "For the Lover in You." So, what was the inspiration for this song?
Well, the inspiration for me for this song was basically to get something, you know, that made sense. That was one of the first songs that I ever wrote, you know, and I co-wrote. I just co-wrote that, and I would always write stuff, and I'm like, oh man, that's corny, man. I'd build all up,
right.
And the way we would do, the way that we would do song selection, you know, as far as Leon and his crew and everybody, when we were putting an album together, you would present a song and everybody be sitting there, and then all of a sudden they say, the big V, veto, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone to get the veto. So, you know, Dana had a big piece of the song already done. And then I came in, I wrote a couple other things, and then I'm the one that got the so much love between us. You know, the bridge and stuff. And I wrote that and sat there and I presented it. It was in the group. It was in the everybody was, you know, in the group listening. And when it came down to that, they were like, "Oh man, that's dope." And I was like,
"Yeah."
You know, that was the inspiration as far as that song is concerned. Unfortunately, everybody asked me, you know, were you thinking about this? I was thinking about getting vetoed.
Right. There you go. Well, as Midas says, some fun facts about this. It reached number 17 on the U.S. R&B chart in 1981. It was voted the best 25 slow jams by Essence magazine.
Wow.
Hey.
And it also was remade by Babyface, LL Cool J on their album The Day. The Day. Okay.
The Day.
I mean, that record's been redone so many. Gerald Albright redid it.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I've redid it. You know, and
man.
The thing that was important to me anyway, for the Lover in You, was, you know, remember I said earlier, I wasn't really into the whole dance music thing, and so before For the Lover in You, they used to say, you know, Shalamar the disco group or Shalamar the dance.
Yeah, he brought the soul to it.
But the significance to me of For the Lover in You is that it took us out of that whole thing and into just Shalamar the group, you know, and it was a very, very, very significant song for our growth, you know, for our growth.
Awesome. It did. It was great. I mean, it was number 6 on the U.S. Hot 100, number 2 on the U.S. R&B chart, number 12 in the U.K., our country.
Yeah.
Hey.
So here we go. We have another video for The Lover in You.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Grace.
Yes, sir.
Once again,
Yes, sir.
once again.
You know,
That's the remake.
Yeah.
there's a lot of significance about that video though.
That video.
Yeah,
Please
Okay.
tell.
because at
Yeah.
that time, you know, I was years and years into my solo career as far as that was concerned. And
Right.
Jeffrey had been over in England, and Jody had started into her solo thing, and I remember Tracy Edmond, you know,
Tracy. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Kenny's wife, had called me
Right.
one time, and she was doing a listening session for one of her artists. She had Yab Yum Records at that time.
Yep, yum.
And so she was doing a listening party for one of her artists, and she called. She was trying to get people down, and she called and asked if I would come down, you know. And I said, "I'll come down." She said Kenny will be there, you know, and you know, she said, "I know you guys haven't seen each other for a while. People don't know Kenny, babyface.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, so yeah, I come down. So a partner of mine and I went down there, and I talked to Kenny, and we kicked it, and you know, kicked it there for a while. And then when I was getting ready to split, Kenny says, "Well, man, you know, I'm doing my next album in the studio over at Record Plant. Said if you ever want to come hang out, you know, you're welcome, you know, to come hang out."
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
I said, "Cool," you know. So about a couple of weeks later or so, I was playing somewhere out of town, and I flew home, and that's when I lived out in Calabasas, right?
Okay.
And so I got home. The flight landed at about 2:30, 3 o'clock. So you know what the freeways look like going from LAX to Calabasas at that time.
Yeah.
So I said, "Man,
Yeah.
I don't want to sit on this parking lot for 2-3 hours." So I said,
Right.
I called the studio, and you know, to see if they were in there, and talked to Kenny, and he says, "Yeah, we're here. Come on down." Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I made my way to Record Plant. I forget which one it was, but I made my way to Record Plant. And when I got there, his assistant, Shalamar, met me at the door, and she says, "You know, Kenny wants to see you back in the back, right?" And so, you know, I went back to the back office back there.
Howie.
And
Look at that,
Your boy
Howard.
Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, your boy.
What up, Ralph?
What's up? So like I went back there, and Kenny says, "Man, you never believe it." So I said, "What's up?" He said, "Man, me and LL Cool J, he said, me and LL have been trying to figure out, you know, a song to do. We wanted to collaborate on a song on this album." He said, "We've been working on a couple of things, and nothing really stuck." He said,
Right.
"But as soon as you and I got off the phone, LL comes in, and he didn't even know that we were on the phone.
Wow.
And he says first thing out of LL's mouth was, 'Man, we should do a remake of that old Shalamar joint.'"
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And
That's
Kenny
divine.
Yeah, Kenny says, "Well, you know, Howard's on his way down here now." So long story short, we started working on the track that night, right?
Wow.
Wow.
And then we finally got done with everything. We had Shanice Wilson on there. We had this cat Mark Nelson on the backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. Mark
Wow.
Nelson was from As Yet, from the group As Yet. And
Oh, okay, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
and within a few days, you know, the track was basically kind of done. So me, Face, and LL had a meeting to kind of just go over what we had done. And after we were towards the end of the meeting, I said, because I'm always thinking, right? Because at that time, you know, Shalamar, we were broke up. We had, you know,
Right.
you know, and so I'm thinking, and you know, for some reason, Jody, we that's a whole nother story. I don't know what it was. Jody had her problems with everything, and I'm in the back of my head, I'm saying, okay, this might be something here. So I said, you know what? I said, you know what would make this thing pop? You know, they said, "What's that?" I said, if we brought Jody in to do some vocals on this thing, right? And so so Kenny looks at me because Jody's never made it a secret that she had whatever problem, whatever.
Issues.
Okay.
I saw his face, and I said, "Nah, man." I said, "I know what you're thinking." I said, "But no, I'm about business. This is about business and everything."
Right.
So like, you know, he said, well, we'll check it out. So I left, and the next day I was going back out on the road. And about a couple of days, 2 or 3 days later, I called from wherever I was and talked to Shalamar and his assistant. And I said, well, if you guys talked to Jody, she said, yeah, we reached out, but we haven't heard anything back. We reached out and talked to her people. We haven't heard anything back. And she said, Kenny's really happy with what we have with Shanice and Mark on there and all that.
Uh-huh.
And I said, that would be cool. I said, but the thing that the PR hook would be crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I said, sometimes when you reach out to people's people, they don't reach to the people, and everything gets mixed up with people's people.
Yeah.
Right.
I said, maybe you should, just reach out again. So long story short, they reached out again, and then she came in and did her part, and that's what we hear.
Yeah.
And then it was supposed to be, then they decided it was going to be the first single, right? Okay, single, that means video. Right?
Yeah.
And Jeffrey's a visual thing. And, Hype Williams was
Hype Williams,
was going to do was directing the video. And so we reached out to Jeff. And then that's how that whole thing came together. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, Face, Face, everything that was everything that he even looked at was multi-platform. And so but what he was here, he had never had a #1 hit record over in the UK, right?
Oh,
okay.
So once they put For the Lover in You out in the UK, and then started announcing that it was me, Jeffrey, and Jody on there, that thing blew up. It blew up.
Yeah.
At the time, Face wanted to do a Shalamar reunion album. And Benny Medina, Benny was managing Face at the time. So Benny calls me and he says, I said, man, I'm down. As long as the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and everybody treated fairly, I'm cool. But we can go out.
That's okay. We want to jump ahead a little bit. I guess your contract expired, right? Was it about 1985, and you signed to Elektra? How did that happen?
Well, at the time, Elektra was Solar's distribution company.
Right. I remember.
So they had first rights of refusal on everything that came off of Solar.
Okay.
Really?
In other words, if I'm coming off of Solar and I want to do a solo deal, I have to take my deal to them first, and then they have to refuse it. Then I can go anywhere else I want to go, right? And so at the time, Elektra was they had the Eagles on there. They didn't even have Anita on there at that time, whatever. But Bob Krasnow got arrested, so he was a cool guy. He was a cool guy and everything. So I told my attorney at the time, Bob Lieberman, I said, so, that's not really where I want to go. I said, but so why if they have to agree to the deal, I said, why don't we just make the deal so ridiculous that they'll pass on it, right?
Right.
And we made this deal, the money, the upfront money, that's when advances were like the thing,
Right.
The upfront money, the bumps that each when it reached this amount, it bumped up to this retroactive, blah blah, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And took it to them, and Bob Krasnow says, okay, what else?
Oh wow.
So
man,
that's how I got the Elektra.
So you recorded the first LP with them was "I Commit to Love."
I Commit to Love.
Yeah.
Yep. The first single from there was "I'm For Real," and then we did Stanley Clark, and I wrote "I'm For Real." And
Stanley Clark.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
And then Stay, I think, was the next single, and then Say Amen came off that album.
Hey.
But see, Say Amen was never a single.
Yep.
Really?
And it was but it was, that song was just an amazing song.
We're gonna get to that, but first we're gonna show a little clip of "I Commit to Love."
I Commit to Love. Yeah.
There it is. There it is.
My next guest gained national fame as member of the musical group Shalamar. I love that group. Not gonna marry him, but I love that group. He's got a great solo career going with a new album. Hold up. Called I Commit to Love. That's the name of the album. And he is going to be singing the title track. So that means if the album is called I Commit to Love, he's going to sing the title track. Then what would the name be? I Commit to Love. Wrong! No. Please help me welcome singer Howard Hewett.
Right after these messages, don't go away.
That was great.
Oh man!
I know.
Yeah, classic.
We got you there. Huh?
All that stuff comes, through the years. Let's take it down a step. You know what I'm saying?
Are you referencing the keys to the songs?
Right.
Man, all that stuff. Every step down.
Yeah.
Paul Rubin's a great guy. We had,
Nice.
my band was great. It was like Paul Jackson Jr. back there, and Wayne Lindsay, and Jim Blair on drums.
Yeah, awesome.
Wayne Lindsay, he's the bomb, right?
Ziggy, yeah, he's the bomb. Monty Stewart.
Okay.
Well, now we want to talk about the signature hit, "Say Amen," and that was with Monty, right? That was with Monty.
Monty, and that was the first song Monty Stewart and I ever wrote together. And
but you knew him. He's like a friend from before.
Well, see, I knew of Monty because see when I started. Before I left the group, before I left Shalamar, I remember praying a prayer. I said, Lord, when I'm by myself, when I'm solo and I'm responsible for what I say, nobody else's, responsibility. Not saying that the other people wouldn't believe or whatever, but this was a personal statement that I was making. Mm-hmm. And I said, I promise that every solo album I do, I will honor you on every solo album. Right. So like, nice. About a year and a half, couple years later, that's when I left the group and got the and then elected, accepted things. So I had to go into a meeting, with them, with Electra, the new management company, and all that kind of stuff, and to talk about the first solo album. So I go in and I shake everybody's hands, right, and I sit down and I say, well, first of all, because I was so excited. I was like, 20? I forget how old I was. I was excited. I said, this is my solo album, right? And so, I said, but first of all, before we get started, I said, I just want to say that I want to do a song to the Lord on this album.
Right, right.
And man, you can hear a pin drop in there. It was like,
I bet. They don't hear that much.
Right. Executives.
This was 1985. Nobody was doing those stuff.
Yeah.
Niecy would do a gospel album, but then she'd come back and do an
different thing.
album,
Yeah.
you know. But I was talking about combining
Sure.
the two on an R&B and doing an inspirational song on an R&B album. So you can hear a pin drop in there. And then there's one cat, he starts talking and said, well, you know, Howard, you know, with the religious overtones and like, you know, we want to take your career into the sex symbol direction and this and that and that and this. And again, like before, I just kind of sat back and the whole time I'm listening, and my management came in, they started talking because I hadn't even talked to them about it yet, right? And I'm kind of sitting back and I'm listening, and in my mind, I'm like, you know, praying. So, Lord, you know, how am I going? Because I want these people to be excited, but you know, so when they got done, I said, you know, I hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. I understand completely what you're saying. I said, but maybe I approached this the wrong way, right? And I said, let me go back, and let me approach it this way.
Okay.
I'm going to do a song. Because that's a promise that I made to him. And my promise to him is means a lot more to me than your opinion, direction. I said, because without him, there would be no career. So you know, it's like you know, I said, now we can talk about everything else, right?
Yeah.
And then I went away, and then Monty, I had heard about this cat Monty Seward, you know, this cat was doing producing and stuff. So like I connected with him, and we set up three days consecutively, 3 days in a row that we were going to write. And that's when I had this condo at the time over in Hancock Park, right on the corner of Wilshire and Rossville. And so, like, you go down there and like, it was, you know, I had a lady that, house cleaning lady, glass, you know, cook and all that worked for me and stuff. And she cooked dinner, and me and Monty came the first night. We sat and we talked and we talked and we talked and we talked. Didn't write nothing. We wrote, right? He goes on next night. He comes back and she's cooking it. And we talked and we talked. Nothing. The next night we didn't write nothing. Right.
All right.
And so then we said, okay, you know, we gotta, you know, get together. We didn't write anything. We got to figure out when to get together. So we scheduled a time. It was about 2 months later or something like that. And we got back together. And when we got back together that time, we wrote the music to Say Amen.
Man.
Okay.
But I hadn't written the lyrics. It's like, because the way that I write, I take a track, and I you know, put my 2 cents here and there as far as the track is concerned, and then I'll take it, and then I'll figure out the melody, and I'll figure out what I want to talk about, and then, you know, that's how I write. And so I took the track that we had, real rough track, and there was another one of those situations where I'm sitting writing. No, that's not cool. So, and then finally, I prayed. I said, Lord, you know, when you're ready to give me the lyrics to this song, this is your song.
Yeah,
it's going to be your song. I hadn't even figured out what it was going to be yet. And this is going to be your song. So when you're ready to give me the lyrics to your song, you give it to me. So about maybe a couple weeks or so later, I was dating this girl that lived in Miami. Her parents were in Miami at the time, so we were going to Miami to spend Thanksgiving there with them. And she had already gone ahead of me, a couple of days ahead of me. And I was in the studio, I was doing some stuff, and I had to jump on a red eye, you know, going from LAX to Miami International. So I'm sitting there playing, even before the plane took off, I got headsets on, listening to a cassette that has about 3 or 4 or 5 tracks on it that I got to write lyrics to. And I'm listening to it, and at the very end of the cassette was a real rough version of Say Amen. You know, just keyboards and a vocal padding that Monty had put over, and it was only going through half of the song, and then it would cut off. But when I started hearing this, I was like, whoa, I started then, and I started writing, and I'm like, it's time to say goodbye for now, And I thought about the second time around. We'll have our second time around. Before we go, there's something I got to say. There's everything I would have seen. And I'm writing, and I start writing this stuff, and I get to the second verse. And my mom used to tell me all the time, boy, you are the king, you're the king's kid. You're the king's kid.
Oh wow.
And he's got cattle on 1,000 hills. And that's yours. That's yours. All you got to do is claim it. So
Claim it.
Yeah.
I just claim it. And so I start writing, cattle on 1,000 hills. And when I hit that, man, I'm kind of tearing up right now, but I hit that and I started crying. And tears coming. I knew this older white lady that was sitting next to me. I know she was there. What's going on? I'm writing. I got the headsets on. I'm writing. And I got the touchdown at Miami International. The song was done.
Well,
wow, nice.
With all that said, we're going to show a clip of fabulous singing.
Yes.
For giving me one more chance to raise my voice and to sing your praise. I sing it out loud, hey, I sing it all day. This song is my prayer I give to only you. It can't compare to the gift from you. You gave me your love. You gave me your son. Now I say, I love you, Father. I say,
Yes.
I'm standing up on that one.
Yeah,
I'm standing up on it.
We got to take the offering up now.
That was another one of those songs. Can we take that down just a step?
Yeah.
On the background,
Great.
Wow.
That's great, man.
on the background, Denise Williams on the background, and this girl Josie James. It was amazing.
It's an awesome song, man.
It's awesome.
Song.
There he is.
Wonderful, inspirational song. So I guess in a way you were kind of groundbreaking, I would assume, as far as labels are concerned, and trying to put an inspirational song in the mix of your R&B material. Would that be fair to say?
I'd be pretty fair to say. Later on, Commodores did "Jesus Is Love," and then it was.
Right.
And it was funny because, at first, like I said, I went through that whole story. And then Bob Krasnow, we had a tradition every we got Bob Krasnow, who was head of the lecture. Before I would start every album, he and I would either get on the phone or I would be in New York and I'd go to the office. He'd come out here to LA. And we always talk about the direction of the next project.
Mm-hmm.
And after Say Amen, after the success of Say Amen, the end of every meeting, he would say, I know you're going to do one of those. You're going to do one of those God songs, right?
God song. Yeah, that's awesome. Man.
But I do want to say, though, how instrumental Robert Townsend was. And really, because Say Amen, people were talking about, but they were still stuck on the whole thing about, the record company was still stuck on the whole thing about, inspirational R&B and all that kind of stuff. But Robert Townsend got in touch with me one time, and first time I had ever met him. And he called me, we went in for a meeting, and he says, I'm getting ready to do my first HBO special.
Yeah.
The Partners in Crime,
Yeah.
And he said, I'd love for you to sing Say Amen on this HBO special. And I said, man, I'd love to. I'd be honored, right? And he says, but I want to sing it with you.
Yeah, so
and I'm like,
whoa.
You know, see, in my head, I can it? I guess he read my face, and he said, you know, this is my first HBO special. This is the most amazing way I know that I can say thank you. You know, together. So how do you
can't say no to that, huh?
No, so we do the thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
By time the first Partners in Crime came out on HBO, they had already released my second solo album on Election. The day that they aired that the Partners in Crime HBO special aired, the next day people were flocking into the stores across the country, you know, looking for Say Amen. And all the record stores. Remember those record stores? All the record stores.
Yes.
Right.
All the record stores.
Think of the past.
Right.
Record stores had to reorder. They had to reorder the I Commit to Love album. So you know, Rob was very, very instrumental in that.
Yeah, and I will say before we move along, there was a morning radio show I used to listen to in the morning. I was probably in high school at this point, but they used to close their morning radio show out with that song every morning.
Whole bunch of stations across the country. Donnie Simpson.
You know,
PCI in Chicago. I mean in Maryland.
Yeah.
He used to close it up. You know, close the show up with it too.
Yeah.
So, really, and I always say, people say gospel, but to me, you know, Say Amen is not a gospel song. It's an
inspirational.
Right.
The gospel is a whole nother thing. When I think about gospel, I think about Shirley Caesar. I think about Albertina Walker. James.
Right.
It's a different kind of emotion. I have mad respect for
absolutely.
Mad because those were my roots. That's what. But Say Amen is an inspirational song, you know.
Yeah, and a moment ago, you I think you mentioned your second LP, which is titled Forever and Ever.
Forever and Ever, yeah.
Yeah, who were some writers and producers who were involved with that project?
Wow, I mean, man, you put me on the spot now.
If you can recall.
Yeah, I know. Monty and I did a lot.
Okay.
In fact, we wrote the title track Forever and Ever. Forever and Ever was the inspirational song for that album.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that in a long time.
That's all good. And I'm just gonna mention a few songs. You had a Strange Relationship on that particular project, which went number 9 in the US in the US R&B charts. You had Once, Twice, 3 times. Went number 15 on the R&B charts. It's a gold LP. Now, also in 1988, you also did some duets with Dionne Warwick and Anita Baker.
Stacy Lavison, I did. Mountain High Enough. I think that was on the Forever and Ever album also. I think. Okay. Now,
how did you become so high in demand at this time? I mean, it seems like you're just all over the place.
I started working with a lot of different producers, and you know, like Stanley Clark, and then Stanley introduced me to George Duke and a bunch of stuff. Right. And I worked a lot with Quincy Jones. You know, I started doing that real early in my career because, you know, I always wanted, this is what I always wanted to do. And I always wanted to kind of expand the whole situation. And Dick Griffey wasn't happy about that, you know. But I believe he wasn't happy about that because I got an opportunity to see
elsewhere.
What the checks look like this over here, and it's like, you know, and so you know, but for me, it wasn't even about that. It was about really just you know, expanding my thing. Like I used to watch Leon when he would produce and his production method, and then the contrast was, you know, Quincy, the way that he was produced. He and Bruce Swedien would get in there, and they would be like, you know, like scientists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, working on it.
Yeah, and then watching George, the way that he produced and the way that he created this, and his method of approaching a song, you know. So, you know, it was just something that I love to just soak up and like, you know, watch and learn some stuff. So it expanded from there, and
Yeah.
you know, then it was like, you know, Dion, Dion, like Auntie Dion, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and you know, we started, I think, I can't remember whether we did the duet first and then did some of the AIDS stuff that she was doing, the AIDS concerts and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't remember which one came first.
I got you. But that's awesome that, you know, other artists wanted to reach out and do some work with you. So you must be doing something right at that particular time.
Yep.
And thank God, you know, and we did Anita Baker. You know, Anita Baker and I did this duet. But Anita was on the Elektra label.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, like, you know, when we got together, they said, well, we want you to do a duet. We want to do a duet. And both of us said, you know, that's great. That's beautiful. We do a duet and all that. Vocals, you know, the combination is cool.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is all going to depend on the song.
That's true.
And
Very
we
true.
went through like 15, 20 songs and stuff, and came up with this thing called When Will It Be? Barry Eastman produced it. And,
Okay.
you know, so, you know, it was cool.
Yes. And also,
I just love working with other people for the experience of it, you know,
Yeah.
and to see how other people approach different things. You know?
And it's something about energy too when you is as opposed to working alone. You know, when you can bounce ideas off of each other and pull ideas. Somebody can contribute this idea, and you know, vice versa. And also in 1990, you had the self-titled Howard Hewett LP.
Howard Hewett LP. Yep.
Yeah, you had the. I'm sorry.
With Show Me on there.
Show Me, yes, Show Me, which was number 2 on the R&B charts, and you also had If I Could Only Have That Day Back on that project as well, which is number 14 on the R&B charts.
Right. Show Me was like this cat John Nevillesby and Terry Coffey. John Nevillesby, yeah, they wrote the track. Terry Coffey, you know, is coffee, but
Coffey. Yeah, you got to put a twist on it.
Yeah.
But like they sent me this track, right? Mm-hmm. And I listened to this track, and at the time I think I just moved into the house over in Calabasas, and I didn't have any of my equipment, anything, you know, set up.
Yeah.
So like they sent me this track, and I was like, whoa, this thing is the track was just
Yeah.
I mean, just amazing. So, you know, I took 2 boom boxes, you know, both recorded, you know.
Okay.
Recorded.
Yeah.
And I went up to my room, my bedroom, and I put 1 boom box on one side, 1 boom box on the other side. And then I had the track that recorded onto the other boom box, and then I put my melody idea on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And back there, put some harmony part or whatever.
And going back and forth.
Yeah, man. And it was like, it took, you know, a lot of times, you know, some songs are like pulling teeth. You know, you're trying to get the right, you know, phrase here, the right word here, the right rhyming,
cadence and all of that stuff,
and all that kind of stuff. But Show Me was one of those songs where, like, I mean, it was just like butter. It just, boom, it was just, you know, and within about 2 or 3 hours, I pretty much had the song down.
That's awesome. And again, like I was saying a moment ago, it seems like really at this point in your career, you were really on a roll.
Yeah, it was that, and it was beautiful. And the thing about that was really special to me about Show Me was a lot of my musician friends were really, you know, were like into it, like PJ Jr., right? Great guitar player and, you know, great friend. He called me after he heard it, first time he heard it on the radio. He said, man, I had to pull over and listen to that song. It was like,
Oh,
the
wow.
hook was the hook was just, so when you hit, like,
your peers,
and friends and your peers and the whole,
yeah,
because I always considered myself a musician too. I'm not not just a vocalist. I'm a musician too, and everything has to be married to each other in the track. The vocals, the track, the music has just as much to say as the vocals.
As the vocals. That's
Everything
right.
has to mesh together and to make sense. And make that person that's listening to that project, make them, feel it and see it. They can't see you, so you have to paint that picture vocally and with the creatively with the music and all that. You got to paint that picture for the listener to hear. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Very true. Very true.
Speaking of being Howard, speaking of being on the road, you kind of did something a little different in your career. You started doing a theme song.
Oh yeah.
You did a theme song for Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Soul Train stuff too.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, how did that opportunity present itself?
Wow, Ken. I can't remember exactly how it came about. That might have been a situation where their people got in touch with my people.
Okay.
And then Chris Curry.
Mark Curry.
Mark,
right. I'm sorry.
Mark Curry. Yeah.
Then I remember Mark got in touch with me, and that's when we got to be close, good friends and stuff. And we talked about the concept. I was supposed to do the theme song actually for the Hughleys,
I remember that.
Yeah. But we ended up not doing it because he ended up not having a theme song at all.
Thanks.
Right.
But I did the theme song for Soul Train when George produced it. The one.
Okay. Well, we've got a little trailer for Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yeah.
Coming at ya on that dusty road. Good loving, I got a truckload. I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man, yeah. I'm a soul man, yes I am. I'm a soul man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so from TV, you started doing cameo appearances. Looks like I think you did a cameo with Halle Berry and Martin Landau.
That was great.
On Baps.
Baps,
yes.
Man, they play Baps now like they just made that movie.
Right?
Yeah.
They're doing something. They're playing it. But that was another Robert Townsend situation.
Oh.
Okay.
So like
Rob was on the roll then.
Yeah, Robert's doing all kind of Meteor Man, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, Meteor.
Right.
5 Heart stuff. So like he was doing Baps and stuff. He called me one day, and I was getting ready to leave out of town, and the next day I think it was, and he said, "Man, just come hang, and I got a cameo for you and Heavy D and Leon and all that. Just do a cameo." Yeah. And so I went down there, and I said, "Okay, I'll hang with them all day," and I had never met Halle. At that time, I don't think I had met her. I think I met her briefly by that time, but But then when he told me what it was, he says, "Well, Steve, I want you to come to the restaurant. You got your date with you. You got your date with you, and you're gonna get stopped, and Natalie is gonna go through this whole thing." I was like, and then you sing it, and then you just go by. And as I told him, I said, "Oh man, that's cool, man. That'd be cool." I said, "But who's gonna be my date?"
That's important.
he had an extra that he said, well, we couldn't come out the girl over there. I said, well, you know, I'm dating this girl right now, and she doesn't live too far from here, and you know, probably come and hang. She looks better than her over there. It turned out to be you know, so called her down, and my we got married after that, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
She's my youngest daughter's mom. You know Angie, right, Shelly?
Sure.
Yep. You know Angie.
Oh, okay.
When you see that clip, that's Angie behind me.
Okay.
All right. Let's look at the clip.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I've been a fan of yours for so long. Since you was with Shalamar, you had the big afro. Oh, I'm such a big fan of yours. You got to sing for me. You got to sing something. Oh, yeah, here. I ain't letting you go till you sing something for me. Okay. Listen. You know I love you, baby. On the bar. The show is over. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry, Mr. York. It was nice that he sang. Bless you for that.
Yeah.
Quick clip.
Wow.
That scene stole the whole show from the movie.
Yeah, man. I remember that.
She had Shelly hair at that time.
Yeah. That's my girl.
Okay.
That's my girl.
Okay. So you spoke about jazz. So you did a jazz thing with George Duke, and it looked like you got a lot of substantial. Y'all excuse me for a second.
Oh, your
eyes. Well, yeah, you did.
We going
yeah,
to
man.
You can.
You did something with George Duke. Let's hear about it.
Right.
Yeah, George. I mean, George and I, we wrote a lot of stuff through the years before he passed, and you know, but it would always seem like I would gravitate towards jazz people, you know, like Joe Sample, and Stanley Clark,
right.
Earl Albright, Brian Culbertson, you know, sax player, the sax player. I would always gravitate towards, and I think what it was that, you know, the freedom that you have as far as jazz is concerned. You know, it always intrigued me. You know, it's like, I can do this. I can go over there. I'm not so
restricted,
you know, confined. You know, to this certain situation is more of a freedom type of thing vocally for myself. That's what I kind of got from it. So I would always say, so George and I would do George, Stanley and I, we would do some amazing stuff. Amazing.
That's awesome, man.
That's so much fun with them.
That's awesome.
That's
so
right.
Wow.
Well, I want to jump in here for a minute.
Yeah.
I spoke to Ralph Johnson recently, and I asked him all about this amazing Christmas CD, Howard Hewett Christmas.
Right.
Ralph has the best ear, doesn't he? I mean, when I met Ralph started producing me. And we went in the studio with Douglas Gibbs, and after shout out Ralph if you're still on with us.
Yeah, Ralph Johnson.
Ralph introduced me to Verdine, and the rest is history.
It's history.
But Verdine was playing on
Ralph introduced you and Verdine?
Yeah, Verdine was playing on the tracks, and so was Maurice, and so was Philip. And I just remember going to the phone and calling my friend. I said, "You'll never guess who's on my album." And Ralph put on my album and said, "Who, Maurice?" I said, "Yeah, not him." Yeah, not him. She said, I said, Verdine White is on my session.
Awesome.
and so anyway, that's how we met. But I was asking him about this Christmas CD of yours. You guys put it together with Earth, Wind, and Stevie Wonder and playing harmonica. And I wanted to know how that came about.
Well, we're with this company. Ralph and I both were with this company called Groove Records. Mike Reynolds and
Mike Reynolds. Okay.
And, they had this thing. So we had already done. Excuse me. We had already done an R&B album called If Only, you know.
Mhm.
And so then we decided that we wanted to do a Christmas album. We put that album together actually within like 3 weeks, you know.
Wow.
And
Wow.
and some of the most amazing stuff on there.
Man.
We did you know that classic Baby.
Yay.
Yeah.
And that album, the classic Christmas thing, Baby It's Cold Outside.
Yeah, that's great. I'll listen to that.
Yeah.
Monty and I produced that, and we did a twist on it where it's like the female part was in Spanish, and then my part, you know, was in English. And it was great. This girl Janelle, she was
right, Giselle, right.
Giselle, right.
Giselle.
Amazing.
And he instructed me to listen to Silent Night. Now, why is that song, right?
That was because it's the shortest song on the album. But
a different twist to it, right?
Yeah, well, it's a really nice little you know, not, it doesn't have the, you know, impromptu, it's
right
feel and stuff.
Right.
You got it. I knew everything.
And the Christmas song, right? Chestnuts roasting.
Yeah, that's the one we had. Stevie playing harmonica, but there's also a song on there which I'm thinking about putting out on as far as like for this Christmas is concerned. It's called That's Christmas. It's
That's Christmas.
That's Christmas. Okay.
Nice.
Tune that George Duke and I wrote together, and George produced it, and you know, it's some great stuff on there. There's a romantic song on there that Monty Stewart and I wrote and produced together.
Right.
I remember My First Christmas with You, or something like that. That is like the title, but there's a lot of great stuff on there. A lot of really good stuff.
Beautiful stuff. Awesome. I listened to some. So now we want to talk a little bit about your beautiful family.
Okay.
How many children, and what are their names?
Got 4 kids. Beautiful, my little partners. Not little anymore. Everybody.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, Lakiva, is she's 40 now.
Oh. All right.
I know. I was like, what? Wow. You know. And my next oldest daughter, Rainy Days.
Rainy? Okay.
Rainy Days.
Nice.
She's 39. My son Christopher is 31, and then my baby is Anissa. She'll actually be 25 on Christmas Eve. And,
wow, nice.
And then then of course I got 2 granddaughters. Delaney's 21 now. Both of them are from Lakiva, my oldest daughter, my 40-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, she had Delaney when she was 20, and I told her, I said, beautiful, thank you, beautiful granddaughter. Yeah, everything's cool. 2 hands, 2 legs, blah blah, everything. But you ain't gonna have no more right now. You got some things to do, and so and she must have listened to me because her other daughter, Sage, is 9 years old, so it's 21 and then 9. But between that time, she did a lot of stuff. Graduated from Long Beach State. And,
nice.
They're all beautiful, and they had some really glowing things to say about you and your amazing parenting. We have a video clip from your Unsung, the viewing party.
Yeah.
And we want everybody to go and watch that when you get a chance.
Yeah.
But right now we want to watch a little clip, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. All right.
Hey, I'm Mickey Free, formerly of Shalamar, and I'm here tonight to witness a long overdue of Howard Hewett, the story on Unsung TV1.
Hi, Dad. I love you so much. You know how much I love you, and I hope you enjoy your party tonight. We're so proud of you, and everything looks amazing, and I love you. Bye.
He's crazy, funny, and I love him a lot.
I have to say something about my dad. Yeah, that's my dad, and he's weird.
Oh no, I have to say something good. I have to say something good about About Dad. Yeah. I love him to death. He's an awesome dad.
My dad is probably one of the most amazing fathers I've ever seen in my entire life. He's incredibly supportive, and even with his busy schedule, he still manages to make time for his kids and his family, and I love him oh so much for that.
This is Kelly Bias, Gary Bias of Earth, Wind, and Fire. I know you know who we are, but we're proud of you. And of course, I remember back in the days, honey. So from the Shalamar days.
Just here to support and to, pay homage to a very great singer. So, keep doing what you do, and we're here to support you. Thank you.
First of all, nobody sings like Howard. His music is incredible. And I'll never forget the day a friend of mine, Norman Whitfield, very famous producer, did the Temptations, Marvin Gaye, and everybody else, was over at my house, and he wanted so bad to do Howard Hewett right before he got into Shalamar. So congratulations on your unsung. This is it. I'm here, Ray Parker Jr., to watch you on the screen.
Judge Mathis here. Just want to say congratulations to my buddy Howard Hewett. He has meant so much for so many decades to all of us. He's given us great music. He's given us great praise music and great love music. Amen.
Howard Hewett is a genius. He's a rare talent that comes like one of those comets that ever come every 500,000 years. He's got one of those unique voices, and just we've been able to jam together over the years, and he's made my projects that much better, because of his talent, and I just really totally respect him. So I'm just glad to be here tonight and celebrate him and honor him.
I enjoyed everything. The thing that really that was really special was being able to view this with a room full of friends. That we deal with the good, the bad, and the ugly. But that's what a life is about. So this is the prequel to the book. So I'm gonna write a book called Say Amen, My Life, ... so far. God bless.
So nice. So nice.
Again.
So nice.
Yeah, man.
Oh, wait, I told you they liked you.
And all those checks cleared, that
They did, right?
Oh,
all those checks
nice.
cleared.
Nice.
They had to go out.
That was a real star-studded event. Where did that take place? I was trying to see if I could recognize the street.
A place, a venue right up on Vine, right up on Vine in Hollywood.
Okay.
Favorite place. It was right up there. A great venue. I think Rainey, my daughter Rainey found it. And,
wow.
Place to have an event. Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Everybody go watch it.
Yes, indeed. Well, check this out. Howard, tell the audience about some of the projects that you are currently working on today.
Well, with COVID and stuff, like I said, you kind of get, you got to kind of pace yourself and get into things. But in the very beginning of this whole thing, I started thinking about the fact that, we're all shut in. And everybody's shut in just like everybody else across the country. Yeah. And so I started doing these what I call the Shut In mini concert series.
Yes.
It's on my Facebook fan page, Howard Hewett fan page, and I do them almost every Friday night. Kind of like, and it's almost like people were trying to tell me, because people started flooding in and the whole thing, and they said, well, you got to monetize. But see, I don't even want to charge anybody for that, because how many years has it been that they've supported me through all these years, and so now that we've been in this situation. Yeah. I want to just give back. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't really about that for me. But I still do some on Friday night. I do it at 6:00 West Coast time, then 9:00 East Coast time. And then I started also, the thing about this virus that we learned early on was that it thrived on low immune systems, you know,
Yeah.
and vitamin D deficiencies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I started, you know, of course I was going to be home. So, you know, first I started riding my bike. I would ride my bike. And one time I decided, you know, while I was on the bike ride, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to go on live. I'm going to go on my fan page, go on live. And when I went on, I mean, all these people just came on.
They want to see.
Yeah, it's like, but also it's like everybody's shut in. Everybody's like, you know.
Yeah.
So then I started doing these walks, and because I walk, you know, because to condition the heart.
Yeah. Fresh air. Yeah, all of that.
And I call it fresh air, cardio, conversation, ... and life.
Nice.
Okay.
And
nice.
FACC ... and life.
Nice.
And so now, you know, I do those almost every day. Just go on, because at first it was like fresh air, cardio, ... and life. But then I started talking about stuff, right?
Yeah, chatting, combo.
So then I added a conversation on there. So, you know, and it has to do with, you know, we talk about a lot of things that are going on, especially with especially when the elections were going on, the campaigns and all that. So, you know, it turned out really, really cool, and I was very honored to, you know, to be able to, you know, take it into a whole nother situation, and because everybody wants to hear me sing, but they, you know, I can talk too, you know.
Absolutely. It's all good, man. It's all good. That's what we're here for. Now, yesterday you were telling us that you are planning to release a Christmas song, a single. Is that correct?
Yes, that was one of the songs from the Christmas album called "That's Christmas." You know?
Okay, that's the one. All right. And what about this book that you're writing?
I'm putting everything together now. We're writing, putting some of the ideas down, and
good.
I forgot that I had said that at the you know, that's a pretty good title. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because we're so used to this Christmas, but that's a nice flip on as far as that's Christmas.
That's Christmas.
Yeah, very nice.
You know, so.
Yeah, so we definitely want you to come back and premiere your book here and promote it when it gets done, and hopefully you at least throwing your Cash App up on your virtual concerts, and at least take the donations.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that because, you know, when I first started doing it, I said, "Oh, we're gonna be locked up about 2 months, 2-3 months." But now, doggone, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do that, or you know, but you know, still, because a lot of people on there, they keep asking me, you know, how can we donate? How can we?
Yeah, definitely.
How can we contribute? Which is really, that's what's up. That's cool.
I did something similar. I'm just digressing real quick, but I did something similar initially when you know, when the quarantine hit and we couldn't go out. So we were doing a buddy of mine just doing virtual concerts, and we would just throw up the cash. We're not going to charge you to be here, but if it's laid upon your heart, you want to donate, you know, we had the information available. So therefore you can at least receive some proceeds without charging an admission fee.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that might be cool. That would be cool. I'll put that together.
Yeah. All right. All right. And I'm sorry.
Now,
moving along.
Now we come to the part of the show that we call Shining Star Shout Out.
Yeah.
Howard, are you ready to take some questions?
Oh yeah, definitely. I love it. I love taking questions.
Yeah. So folks at home, if you have a question, now is the time to type it in. We're running a little long tonight, but we're gonna fit it all in.
Yeah, right.
That would be a pause.
Right.
Linda Lane.
Yeah.
Linda Lane.
We do small personal Zoom concerts for 50 to 100 people, and charge a fee for the first few people so they can ask questions after the concert. I paid for some, and they're awesome. That sounds like a good thing. I definitely would consider doing that. I love those small intimate things because you know, it gives you a chance to really get, you know, I mean, I'm even when we get started back, you know, it's going to be, because if you ever went to any of my shows, you know, I usually stay in the audience more than I'm up on stage. You know
That's
what I'm
cool.
saying? So,
Okay.
you know, I'm not going to be able to do that initially when we get back, because we got to get a little bit more of a handle, you know, on this whole situation.
Right.
I think everybody can appreciate it, and I appreciate it too. But those small intimate settings are amazing. I love them. I love them.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. We'll take a couple of more questions. Got Tracy Matthews. What has been the best performance of your career so far, Tracy? I know that's hard to narrow down.
She's on the walks. I see her. I recognize.
Oh,
her.
cool deal.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's up, Tracy? How you doing, babe?
All right.
Wow. You know, that's
Broad, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I do so many. You know, because when I'm working, you know, I work like about 150, 160 days a year. You know, so between here and overseas.
Yeah.
So like, wow, one that would like maybe stick out to me, I guess, might be, when we did with Shalamar, it was this gig with Shalamar when we were in London, and we did the London Palladium, you know, London Palladium, and when I stepped out on that stage, you know, for sound check and stuff, all I thought about was, man, this is Marvin Gaye live.
Right.
You know, and I got on the phone at that time and called Jan, you know, Jan Gaye, and I said,
"Oh, okay.
I'll never guess where I am," and like, you know, she starts crying. Jan always starts crying, but you know, but that was one of the gigs that really stood out to me, and so we sold the place out. They were hanging from the rafters, and
awesome. That's great.
We rocked them big time that night.
Yes, indeed. Cool.
All right, here's one from Arlene B. Any crazy fan experiences?
We can't talk about that on this.
Nah, can't talk about it.
All right,
next.
sorry, Ariana.
No, but you know, my fans are pretty tame, especially now, you know, they're pretty tame. And
all right.
Does any of your children sing the Mashanda Artista?
Yeah, you go.
Rainey, my next oldest daughter, sings, and she, you know, when she came out of high school, you know, she wanted to, you know, pursue the thing, and she got a little job, you know, so she never came to me for any cash or anything like that. You know, she just came to me to, you know, to go help her with some, you know, guide her, produce some vocals on her a couple of times.
Right.
Oh, nice.
And then she got her own deal with
great.
with this company out of England, and they were, you know, they were doing the album, and they were doing it, and they were like halfway through the album, and then she says, "I'm really not into this," right? She says she was more into what she was gonna wear, and rather than the music and stuff. So then they let her out the contract, and after a minute, and then she got a job working for Vera Wang.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And my son Christopher, amazing musician. And it's like, I always tell people, if I was even just half the musician my son is.
What does he play?
He plays everything. He started out on the guitar, so he's been playing guitar since he was 5 years old. But I remember when he first put his first stuff together, he was about maybe 17 or so, or whatever, and he came to me and said, "Pop, you know, listen to this, right?" And you know, I had this system that was cold-blooded system in the bathroom, the master bathroom, right? So we went up there and he put it on and had this
on the guitar,
and the guitar progressions were amazing. And then he started that screaming stuff.
Yeah. Heavy metal.
Yeah, heavy metal. So like, I'm sitting there listening, and I really was not a fan of the whole screaming thing. But you know, thinking,
felt it, huh?
how can I do this so I don't, you know, offend his creativity, and not come. So when it came on, I said, yeah, I love the guitar progressions. And I said, I'm not really a big fan of the screaming thing, but I said, just do me a favor. I said, just make sure that while you're doing this, you put it in a place in your voice, where you're not gonna damage it.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I said, so when you decide that you want to sing, you haven't damaged anything, right?
Right.
And about a couple months later, man, he came and he said, listen to this. Listen. I went upstairs, put it on. Pop. Yeah.
Oh, so he put some
Nice.
And I'm like, whoa. I said, who's that singing? He said, nah, that's me, Pop. That's me singing.
Wow.
Right? And so he started his whole thing. He is an amazing vocalist now, but he's really technical, which is the whole vocal warm-ups and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
He would go out on the road with me. He lives in Nashville now, but he would go out on the road with me. And he would say, Pop, you got to warm up. I said, man, my first song is my warm up.
Yeah.
Then he started running me through these, and he produced
exercises and stuff.
Yeah, he produced a couple of things on this project that we're going to put together.
Yeah.
And before we would do the vocals, he would run me through all these exercises and stuff. It was cool. Wow. It was good, and I learned a lot. But I'm still, man, my first song.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Great. Mm-hmm. So, how can the fans find you on your social media sites?
Yeah, because social media is everything now, man.
Yes, it is.
Crazy. How can they find you?
You can go on the like I said, Facebook.com/Howard Hewett fan page. And that's it right there.
There you go.
And then on the Instagram page, my Instagram page is Howard_Hewett. Now it's got to be, don't put a Howard Instagram.com. Yeah, Howard_Hewett. Make sure it's Howard, because for some reason Instagram is not giving me my verification emblem.
Okay.
So I got it on Twitter. I got it on Facebook. But for some reason, Instagram don't want to give it to me. So there's about 900 Howard Hewitt.
So you got the underscore.
Yeah, perpetrators on there.
Perpetrators.
Yeah,
right.
Perpetrators.
I'm serious. They're like, there's some predators on there.
There are. And
so if it's not Howard_Hewitt,
that ain't it.
Me.
It's
Dean_White.
It's ETT, not ITT as well, right, Howard? I'm sure people get that mixed up sometimes.
They've been trying to get me to spell it ITT since kindergarten, but but the Twitter page, I don't do a whole lot on Twitter page. There it is, just a vocalist. Yeah, and I got that just a vocalist when Twitter first came out. Then I wanted to see what it was all about. So that was the first thing I came up with, because it was something that George Duke used to say. George used to say, man, I'm just a keyboard. I'm just a piano player.
Right.
So I put on there just a
vocalist. That's awesome.
Okay. Nice.
And Howard Hughes.
HowardHughesMusic.com. Yeah.
Yes.
We got you.
Yeah. Folks, y'all go check that out. Check out those links.
There you go.
Okay, thanks everybody. Now it is time to announce our next guest for next week.
Yeah.
And it is going to be singer, songwriter, legendary musician, fellow bass guitarist, and dear family friend, Mr. Bootsy Collins.
Woo, Bootsy.
Next week.
The Boots.
Next week.
Yeah. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Fellow bassists, those two.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Brothers.
I can manage it. I went on. I was on the road one time, many times, and Earth Wind was in the same town that I was doing my performance. So when I got done with my thing, I shot up over there to them. And man, Verdine is so hype. Man, Dude, I mean, I remember seeing Earth, Wind, and Fire when I was 15 years old, 15, 16 years old. And Verdine, even on the slow songs, Verdine is like double.
Oh, the slow song?
Yeah.
Slow song.
Yeah. And then
oh my gosh.
I went and saw him. I went and saw them perform, and hung out with them and stuff. And like, you know, I was like, man, Verdine, man. And even now, he's like,
Yeah.
you know, and he always told me that he said, yoga, man, yoga.
Yoga.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Does he still do yoga?
Oh yeah, he does yoga, and he works out. You know, treadmill, weights, all of the above. But
Wow.
Keep that
And
energy up.
he's just as hype off stage as he is out on stage.
Wow.
It's amazing.
imagine that in a pandemic every day. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. We want to thank everyone for your support of celebrity shout-outs.
Yes.
But we now have an addition to celebrity shout-outs.
Okay.
Now you can go on the site and click on a celebrity and order a virtual meet and greet. So that's something new that we're doing. And we're going to be happy to see you and talk to you. So click on the site and get a virtual shout out.
Yeah.
And I'd like to also announce that Howard Hewett has joined us on Celebrity Shout Outs. So thank you, Howard.
Thank
And,
you for inviting me.
and now we're going to have a word from our sponsor.
Yeah.
Baby, it's cold outside.
What's up? I'm Howard Hewett, and I want to invite you to Celebrity Shoutouts. Does that special someone in your life have a birthday coming up, or an anniversary, or just a simple I love you? Celebrity Shoutout makes it possible for me to say all those things for you. The holidays are coming up, and you're looking for that special, unique gift for that special, unique someone. Let it be me through Celebrity Shoutouts. Attached below are the shoutout possibilities as well as the costs. I'm positive you'll find something that fits your occasion as well as your pocket. So let's have some fun, you guys. I'm waiting for you and all your requests right here on Celebrity Shoutouts. God bless. See you soon.
Yes.
Yes. Make sure you
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
You could tell, I told y'all you could definitely tell that I did that about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And do you listen to the Don Cornelius?
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's right on time, man. And we want to just encourage our viewers at home. You know, these celebrity shout outs will be perfect for this holiday season. Whether you get just shout out or you get the virtual chat, please go over and visit celebrityshoutouts.com. Take a look at our roster of talent and pick who you would like to get a shout out from. Like again, and it's a unique gift.
Yes, it is.
Especially this time of year. So
yes,
I encourage you guys to do so. We're over our time, so we're going to keep this part of this segment brief, and we're going to wrap on up. Before we get out of here, I would like to encourage everyone to remember to go over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're not on YouTube currently, go over there at youtube.com, the official Chairmen of the Board.com. Over there on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube right now, do not leave unless you hit that subscribe button.
There you go. Yeah. As they say, smash it.
Yeah, that's what they say. Make it smash. Some people say mash the button. Mash. That's that Southern lingo. Mash the button. Whatever the case, go ahead and subscribe to our page, ladies and gentlemen. So each week when we are ready to do our live broadcast, the content will come directly to your phone. You don't have to search for it. You don't have to look for it. It'll be right there on your YouTube homepage. It'll save you a lot of trouble. Therefore, you can be in the know and get it first and share with your friends. We also always encourage you to do that as well. We want to thank Mr. Howard Hewett for spending time with us today. It's been fantastic.
Yes, sir.
It's been fantastic.
I want to say, man, I've had a great time, and you know, a lot of times, you know, these interviews like this for me is like almost like cheap therapy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, yeah.
Things, get stuff out, and anytime I can come back, I think I went.
Did you beat Ralph? Did you beat Ralph?
I think I beat Ralph's time. I think I beat.
You might have.
You might have.
Again, shout out to Mr. Ralph Johnson who hung out with us.
Shout out to Ralphie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And shout out to all of you at home in the United States, in the UK, whatever part of the world you are in. We thank you. We appreciate you guys so much, because without you guys' support, we couldn't do this week to week. And you guys,
we can't do this without our producer Tazz Cole.
Shout out to Tazz Cole.
Shout out to Tazz Cole.
There you go. Well-oiled engine running smoothly. Yeah. And Howard, we just want to ask, once we sign out, if you stay on the line, we just want to, say goodbye to you before we all depart ways for the evening.
No doubt.
Before you go to sleep.
We're in COVID time now, man.
COVID, right?
Yeah.
That's like CT time, COVID time.
I like that. CT,
Indeed. All right. Any closing words?
Well, we're waiting to hear from you about the CDC guidelines.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And listen, folks, the CDC guidelines, we're going to continue to follow those because we know this virus has ramped up, and, we still in quarantine. So, again, continue to wash your hands, continue to sanitize, continue to wear your mask, especially in public, and continue to social distance and stay 6 feet apart in public. And don't be going a whole lot of places.
Yeah,
I had to do Thanksgiving at home, and we had to do virtual chat with my family. But our safety is more important, so we can be healthy and live to see the next holiday.
That's right.
Yeah, if all hearts and minds are content, we want to thank you guys at home once again. Thank you so much. I'm gonna say God bless you. Howard, you got something?
I also would like to do a shout out to all our people over there in Georgia. Georgia, you have in your hands the ability, to level the playing field. Get out there and vote on January 5th for Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff, so we can grab those 2 seats and we can take Mitch McConnell's power away from him, because Mitch McConnell ain't about nothing but Mitch McConnell. To get out there and vote, understand what you're voting for, and let's level the playing field, y'all.
Let's do it.
There it is.
Good point. Great point.
Y'all heard it live.
Heard it right there. All right, and with that being said, we're gonna see all of you next week for episode 32 with Bootsy Collins. Until then, we're gonna say God bless you. Good night, peace and love. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week. Good night.
All right. Good night.
I was